Anyways, all right, guys. The theme for today is cooling, 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 and yet more cooling for the FL5. We finally got our Acuity reverse flow hoses that, true to like we said, when we got the radiator, the hoses weren't released. And about a week or two after we install the radiator, what gets released? The hoses. The reverse flow hoses that, as you can tell, we haven't even opened it out of the box. And again, folks, remember, safety first. Wear your best steel toe socks and or slippers.
I'm at home. There's no OSHA.
There's no OSHA at work either. Now, these are the reverse flow hoses from Acuity. I'll take them out of the package in a second. They are different compared to the FK8 ones, and I'll demonstrate what they are. Now, you got one hose, two hoses. The difference between your FK8 and your FL5 hoses is this guy right here. As you see here, there's a, what would you call this more? It's like a little bung area.
Yeah, like a provision for a sensor.
Yeah. Now, you will reroute the sensor that would normally go plugged into the bottom of the radiator. Now goes inserted here. You screw it on. We'll take it out of the packaging once we get there. And then you tap this guy to the radiator. Now what Acuity has done with their reverse flow hoses is, now this will be the cold side of the radiator, and down below is going to be the hot side. Which, if you're thinking to yourself, why isn't it like that? Well, we always wonder that, and that's why we had done these reverse flow hoses for the FK8. We're going to test this out. We have been wanting these hoses again, not only for the cooling and the reverse flow aspect, but just in general. These hoses are way better than your stock OEM hoses. We do push the car a lot. We do build up temps.
The stock ones, if you look at like the fibers inside, there's like fibers on the inside, and the stock one typically has one and then like rubber surrounding it. Over time, what could happen is the stock rubber can just basically either split or whatever.
Burst under pressure.
Yeah, burst under pressure. So this is like well supported all around. I don't know if you mentioned, but they relocate the ECT2 port that's actually on the radiator to higher up, so you basically have more accurate temps, which they didn't do in the FK8, which I'm not sure if it makes that big of a difference. We'll see, but theoretically, I mean, thinking about it, it should give you a more better reading for the sensor itself.
Now, probably the part that's going to take the longest is draining the radiator here. We are going to have to remove the intake hoses for the inlet, and that's just to give us more clearance and more room. You are going to need two of these bad boys, so make sure that you buy, doesn't have to be Honda coolant.
Blue though.
Yeah, it just needs to be the blue one. And
do not put green.
Why, you see people put green?
No, but don't put green, don't put water, but you can put distilled water.
You know, I did want to do that. I did want to try the water wetter, but yeah. I hear you have to
change it more frequently. Okay. Should have access to that one.
Perfect time to check for blow by.
Yeah.
So, no oil dilution.
Still have to bump it up though. But
the what?
So still have to bump it up.
Oh yeah.
1030.
Yeah, just we've been experimenting with our oils here, guys, and we have come to the conclusion that we're gonna actually bump the oil up to 1030 for the good old FL5 when we're on track. We do run a E blend, so to speak.
Yeah.
We run an E blend, and we are noticing that there are some little things that when the engine gets super hot, we are noticing that E
dilutes the oil.
Yeah, it's diluting it. It's making its way through, and we're gonna have to make the decision to go with a little thicker oil. Yeah. That way we protect the engine a lot better under high heat stress. On another note, we have also reinstalled our anti-gravity battery we put in our Melee design tray, which is really, really nice. I mean, I know we shot a video on this, guys. If you guys haven't seen it, go back, look in the archives. I'll actually make it easy for you guys and put it in my bio. But yeah, we went ahead and got this thanks to the guys over at Anti-Gravity. They went and hooked us also up with this battery tracker. It's down in there. I can't really, there it goes. It's a battery tracker. Now again, it's not a battery tender. What it is just like what it says, it tracks your battery. I mean, literally it's a Bluetooth enhanced little device that lives on the battery. Anytime I want to check it on my phone, I can check the battery status. It also gives you what the reading is when you go to crank the battery. It gives you the crank amps, and then it also does tests for you where you can check if the battery is charging or not. That way, if you're having issues with your alternator, if you're having certain issues, battery issues, you can always check what it is. So again, super valuable piece of equipment here. And again, we're so happy we got the battery back. Sheds about 20 something pounds, huh? Again, watch the video, guys, but literally sheds a lot of weight. Literally, I could pick this up with my hand like this compared to the stock battery that you need pretty much 2 hands to get it out. It's not just gonna come out. It's pretty damn heavy. And yeah, like Morris was actually just mentioning, when it comes to that sensor, and I'll hand him the camera to take down there, the sensor is connected. It's like on a little harness, and it's also connected to like the frame or the plastic framing of the car. You are gonna have to pull that, and depending on the orientation of these hoses, you're gonna have to move it and kind of reroute it and figure out, which is what we're gonna do. Now here you could see, let me try and, there you go. See how thin, number one, the hose is. Number two, look how it's only 1 strand of fiber. Let me try and zoom in here. There it is. See, just 1 strand of fiber that you're getting. Now look at the difference here in the Acuity hoses. A lot more thicker, a lot more strands of that fiber, and a lot more reinforcement. This is going to be very beneficial for us when we're on track. Acuity has supplied us with everything that we're going to need to do this install. Follow along as the assistant and I do it. Well, mainly him, right? It's going to be this guy right here. We're currently waiting on the radiator to bleed itself out. We're just draining it, basically. We're waiting for that. That takes the longest here. Morris has gone ahead and removed our hose coupler here to gain access. All right, boys. Really slight hiccup here. It seems like the iPhone has died. All the fancy lights, all the microphone stuff's gonna go bye-bye. And since we're halfway into this install, I'm picking up here with the GoPro. Now, Morris, I'm gonna hand him the tools. He's gonna go ahead and show you guys real quick what you need to do.
Alrighty. This white connector that you see right there, that is the male end of the connector, is the ECT2. It's the same if you have a stock radiator. We have a CSF, same position. All it is a 17 socket that you need and a ratchet to disconnect it, or to at least loosen it and then get it out of there and replace it with the plug. The harness, as you see, the one right next to the plug, that is the one that connects to it and gives all the data to the ECU and goes back into the car. There is a clip right there, and then there is one further up behind the charge pipe that you also need to take out, and it'll allow you to have enough room to plug it where it is now needed for the reverse flow hoses. Sorry. So I already loosened the sensor itself, so I'm going to remove that, plug it as stated, and remove the last connector clip that is holding it in on the fan shroud.
2 hours later.
We're back. I installed the Acuity plug that is provided. So the left side is our drain, the right side bolt is our plug for the sensor. It is a 17, and they tell you to torque it to 9 foot-pounds.
Now what we're gonna do with Acuity's provided little adapter here is, hopefully this is in focus. See, this piece goes into the hose that they've provided us, which is there. And this will go in here, and again, you're gonna screw in this sensor into it. Now, the way that they've told us to do it is you grab a 23, I believe it was, inch socket, you connect it to the back end, and with the torque wrench set to 9 Newton meters, you go, well, 9 foot-pounds of torque, you go ahead and you pretty much secure it like so. All right, guys, spot check here. Morris has pretty much already, like I told you, screwed in onto the supplied little relocation bung that Acuity provides. Now what we're doing is we're just putting it into the hose. Make sure that your orientation is in a position that is going to be easily accessible for you.
Yeah. So I got the hose, at least the cold one on. As stated, the harness. So there is one provision down below for it to be disconnected. It's gonna be hard to see, but it's right here in my hand. You see the white portion of it. The connector is literally where my thumb is. They say in the PDF that they have online showing you how to do it, that you need to disconnect a further one up top. It's looking like you really don't. You can just get away with the one that is on the bottom and has a provision for it.
I don't see it.
It's not
getting into trouble.
Yeah, it's that, and the harness isn't like, what's the word?
I'm trying to get you guys some lighting here so you can actually see what we're talking about.
It's right down here where my finger is. Hard to see, but the harness isn't getting pulled on. The wires aren't getting pulled on. There is still like a good amount of clearance that I can move the wires with my hands freely, so it should be good, and no need to disconnect the other clip holding it in.
All right, well, so here you guys go. Here's the hose onto the radiator, and like I said before, guys, you can see how thick this hose is compared to the stock one. And actually, let's go ahead and compare that. Morris gonna bring us an example. I mean, look at that.
As talked about, that fiberglass or the strands or whatever that is supporting it.
One row
compared to,
and flex that thing. Look at that.
Yeah,
looking beat.
And this one, I mean, you can see the row difference. Well more supported. I mean, the same amount of pressure.
But you could see that this one has like some type of core inside.
Even on like further in, you know, I can basically close it for the most part. This one I can't even get.
Yeah, this again, the cooling aspect is not that significant. Every little bit helps, don't get me wrong. But the part that is the more peace of mind is the fact that these hoses are more reinforced. They're meant for track or high heat applications. It's just better peace of mind, right? Basically.
Yeah. And less chance of it rupturing for whatever reason.
Okay, Morris just finished tightening this up. He likes to go a little tighter where the clamp kind of makes a small indentation on the hose, and that's just making sure that it's properly snug. We'll find out and see if it actually does make a difference by relocating it higher up or what, away from the radiator, right? Basically. Yeah. Theoretically, it should work better, and that's just because the sensor is now higher up, and I mean, pretty much coming right out of the thermostat, huh?
Well, the whole point of that is, so on the bottom it would be reading the cold temperature, so since you're flipping it, it's actually reading hotter, technically. So now that this is cool, it's actually reading the proper degrees since you flipped it, and it's colder on the top now.
Yeah,
so
exactly. That's exactly what I told him. Alright boys, we've moved into the cockpit of the car. Right now Morris is just topping off the car with coolant. We just are monitoring temps, waiting for the thermostat to kick on and open up. So far temps are climbing normal, I'd have to say. We are just topping it off as needed with coolant. Yeah, the car's gonna have to run and self-bleed itself for a little bit probably take it out for a little cruise around, just to same thing, maybe push out any air bubbles. But yeah, you just want to make sure that the thermostat opens, pretty much engaging the fans. On this step here, you're gonna want to make sure that that happens before you call it quits. All right, boys, like I said, that pretty much is gonna conclude the installation video here for the Acuity reverse flow hoses for the FL5. It's not too hard. It's pretty simple little install you got going on here. It probably takes about an hour. Took us about that amount of time, maybe a little bit extra, and that was just because we were recording, and as you could tell, we had the little video issues, having to use the GoPro, kind of like old school days. But again, boys, super simple install. I am gonna ask you guys one quick favor, and that's for all of you that are new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, help us out to help you out when it comes to making these videos for you guys. Now, again, I just wanna thank everybody who watches, who comments. Big shout out. Thanks again, guys. We really appreciate it. You have no idea how much we really appreciate that support. And from myself, from the trusty labor assistant, and the 4-county, 6-state Edge Master, Lewis, we'll catch you guys out on the next one. Oh, wow. Thought you were working.
I am.
Anyways, guys, we'll catch you guys out on the next one.